Good afternoon YouTube, and welcome back to another video where today I'm going to be teaching you how to tabletop on your mountain bike. I'm going to be using my dirt jump bike to teach you how to tabletop today, and I'm also going to be using the MTB hopper ramp because this thing's awesome. You can set it up anywhere and create any kind of jump that you want, which is perfect for learning this trick. The perfect setup for learning a tabletop is actually on a hip jump, because as you click a table, you move the bike, and doing this trick on a hip just feels way better, and it enables you to click the table and lay it extra flat. Before we even attempt the tabletop off of a ramp, we need to work out what way or what direction we're going to lay the bike flat. For me, I tip the bike to the left, so therefore a right hand hip works perfectly. Now that you've figured out what direction you're going to be doing a tabletop, make sure that your jump setup is working perfect, you know the speed, and you're feeling comfortable in the air. One of the best ways to familiarise yourself and learn the technique of a tabletop without doing it the scary way and trying it straight on a jump is to lay on your back on the floor and have the bike like this. And this way you can really practice the technique and get used to it. So the first thing that we need to focus on whilst doing a tabletop is your hands. They play a really important part. So with your hand that you push towards your body, you're going to take your finger off of the brake, and then as you're about to click the table, you're going to wrap your hand around the grip and aim to push it towards the opposite armpit. So it's doing this. That will help to click the bike in. At the same time, with the other hand, you can use that to push the bike away. So you're creating this effect where you're rolling the hand there, pulling that one in and pushing that, and that helps to click the bike. Obviously, if you just focus on doing that, you can see I'm doing a horrible bow-legged trick, which looks weird. So the next body part that you focus on is your knee. So as your hand is twisted on the grip, my left knee is going to be pushing on the top tube, which creates the table. So instead of like this, it's creating the effect, and because you're pushing on the top tube, that's also helping to lay the bike extra flat. Sometimes your feet can become a problem. You might have seen me adjusting mine just then. The pedals are obviously super grippy, and it can make it hard like that, even doing this technique, to click it. So the super stylish way is, as you do the tabletop, you might see riders put their feet up onto the cranks. That basically just allows that extra movement and means that you can click the tabletop even more. And once you're familiar with this on the ground, it's then time to take it to the jumps. So there we have it. You now have got the tabletop dialed on your back. You're very familiar with the technique, and you're now ready to take it to your kicker ramp or jump setup. First thing is to make sure you approach the ramp at the correct speed. Leave some distance before to set up, so you're in the attack position, looking at the ramp and ready to click a tabletop. You're now just about to fly out the ramp. As you get air and start to level the bike out, it's time to apply the technique that you've just learned on the ground. So with that hand, it's coming off the brake, curling around the grip and being pushed towards your armpit, whilst at the same time with the other hand pushing away, and also at the same time, once again, that knee is pushing down on the top tube. If you're getting it clicked straight away, then you might find that you need to adjust your feet on the cranks to allow that table to be clicked in that little bit further. So you're now flying through the air, the tyre is buzzing the shoulder, or even better, hitting the side of your face. That's when you know it's a really good tabletop. However, it's now time to land. So whilst all this is going on, as always, you should be keeping an eye on where you're about to land. As you start to approach, reverse this process of bringing the bike back out straight. As you're about to hit the ground, absorb the impact like always by bending your knees and your elbows, and then ride off either up the next jump or off into the sunset, having clicked in the flattest tabletop of your life. Hopefully that has helped you to learn a tabletop. There is a few extra tips which I can give you right now which could come in useful. The first tip or thing to be aware of is your t-shirt. You might be thinking, what does he mean by that? Well, when you're clicking the tabletop in and you're pushing this bar here, be very, very careful that your bar end or the end of your handlebar doesn't get caught in here, because it can get really wrapped up and make it actually impossible to pull the bar out, which just results in a big crash. A top tip or a way of preventing this happening, which I often do, is when I'm going to do a tabletop, I put my hand right to the edge of the grip, because if your hand gets caught in there, you have a bit more control over getting that out, and it's bigger, so it's less likely to get stuck. Whereas if your bar gets stuck, then it's kind of game over, because before you know it, you've landed and you're cartwheeling down the landing with no bike. The next tip to making your tabletops even better is when you're clicking it and you've got the bike flat, move your body towards, or your shoulder towards the tyre. This just helps to make you smaller and make the bike look flatter. If you're sat bolt upright, you can have the bike really flat, but it just looks like you're really far away from the wheel. So try really crunch up and push yourself towards that tyre. The final tip or thing to be aware of is remember that if you are really clicking it and your feet are coming off, then your feet are off the pedals. So you have to get them back to a good position, ready for landing. I've done it before where my feet have gone up and they've both slipped off, and you end up just bull riding out, and that's quite unpleasant. So just remember, your feet aren't on the pedals. The tabletop is one of my favourite tricks. Not only does it look and feel amazing to perform, but you can start off really small and progress. You know, as a beginner, I really wouldn't recommend going out there and trying to click the flattest tabletop ever. Just start with a little tweak and make sure you're doing the few things that I've said, and then before you know it, you'll notice they're getting flatter and flatter and flatter. Trick like a bar spin, you have to do it. You can't do half. Whereas a tabletop, you can build up. The other thing that I like about the tabletop is there's a few different styles and ways that you can do it. The classic tabletop, like we've been learning in this video, and there's also the invert. They're very similar. Once you can do one, I'd say you can do the other. It's just up to you which you prefer the look of. If you saw my previous how-to video, then hopefully you will have learned how to 360 by now. And if you have, that's awesome, because once you learn the tabletop, you can easily combine these two tricks together to create the 360 tabletop. As you're approaching the lip, perform the 360 exactly the same way that you usually would. So don't rush the spin out of the ramp. However, this time, as you come out the ramp and you're just approaching the 90-degree mark, it's time to click a tabletop using the technique that we've just learned. So wrap that hand around, push it towards your armpit, push away with the other one, and push with your knee on the top tube. As you get towards 270, you're going to start bringing the bike back out, looking and spotting that landing, getting ready to absorb the impact with your knees and elbows. Land the trick, roll away the champion. So there we have it. I hope that after this video, you can all go away and learn to tabletop. It's such a fun trick, and I definitely would recommend all of you going away and giving it a try. If you have any further questions, don't hesitate to leave them in the comment section below. Give the video a thumbs up if you found it helpful and you've enjoyed it, and I will see you guys in the next one.